Hey guys, what's up? It's Schla coming back to ya with another episode of Walks with Schla. And there's really not much else to say other than I'm really interested or intrigued in my theory of destruction, and that could potentially be the human's purpose. Not that that's what I live out, but it would at least diminish my peril of just existing in this realm, because as it stands, it's like it's practically impossible for I can't bear it anymore. I'm past my limit. That's what I'm saying. I'm past my limit. I've been on this planet for too long, and I try to dabble with it. I try to dabble with people. I try to dabble with material just to keep my sanity, but it grows my detest. Material, it initially is enticing and it gives a sense of satisfaction. And I always think, oh, well, maybe this will be the thing. Maybe this person's good enough now. Maybe that person will finally be. And it always leads to nothing other than the same material disappointment. Which is why my theory that there is a destructive destiny makes so much sense. I think that the flesh is a very dark and disgusting thing. So that really reveals most of the problem, is that, and if you think about it, it's true. I mean, if you prick open a body, it's gross. I mean, sure, from the outside, we look beautiful and we adorn ourselves in special garments, but peel away that beautiful skin and it's hideous. We're all hideous. Even the most, I don't know if you've ever peeled somebody's skin off before, but but we're all hideous. I mean, even the even the prettiest among us, they underneath, everybody under their skin and their heart, we all have ugly hearts. Look at a person's heart raw. That's not pretty. It has to be wrapped up and hidden. So it's an interesting open metaphor, we'll call it. Similar to an open heart surgery, an open metaphor of disgust and the filth of this world. And even the people with the greatest hygiene and who espouse themselves to be the most civilized, with the cleanest clothes, the cleanest car, the cleanest home, it merely is 110 ounces of effort, and it's just a speck. Their home is just a speck of cleanliness, a speck of order in a world that is hideous and tumultuous and messy and sloppy. And you can set up perimeters, but it takes a lot of work. And the rest of nature is flooded with bugs and moisture and dirt, unevenness, disgust, gross animals consuming each other, animals consuming plants, teeth gnawing on grass, creating a disgusting green viscous liquid. This is reality, and this reality is destructive in nature. And are we put here to be above it, to try to envision something higher? The clouds, when you look up in the sky, it seems clear, it seems divine compared to the disorder of this planet. We even take digital landscapes and make them cluttered. Digital landscapes that would otherwise have the true potential to be very ordered and clean. We mess them up, overload them with unnecessary data, tear through them, burn through batteries, fry CPUs with overheating. It's all just a mess. And that's all we do, is we tear through stuff. We eat flesh, for crying out loud. Every day I eat flesh. And even if I was vegan, it's still flesh, none the same. I was just trying to explain to somebody, you know, because nobody seems to understand my reason for hoarding. It's a higher level. It's memories, it's nostalgia. I attribute that if a human cares about an object enough, that object becomes semi-living. It becomes semi-mortal. It becomes flesh-esque. The object, whether that be a specific piece of clothing that you particularly liked the design and the style of, or whether it's a stuffed animal from your childhood, having the object, holding it, seeing it visually invokes a living emotion that is not obtainable through other means. Having the possession in your possession creates a human response, in the same way that humans don't want to lose their friends or their family. And that's what we do, is we personify and we imprint dead things and we make them alive. We create life. We create life in things that shouldn't have value. There's objects like that are dead, plastic, destructive, a product of slave labor and pollution-emitting chemicals, and they're put into boxes and sold as toys. And then we have such a positive connection to said objects. And what does it mean? What does that say about us? An ability to transmute, an ability to take something where the true meaning is quite negative, the origin and the energy it took to have the thing is negative, and we take it and through our own delusions and fiction create something positive and never know of or think of the ill effects. Does this make us a superior species or an inferior? Is our ability and our job as humans to try to transmute this bad capability or do something else? It's interesting to think about what we could do with this power if it was harnessed on a broad scale. And perhaps it could be used to transmute things that have some kind of logistical substance to begin with, instead of just your stuffed teddy bear from when you were 5. You know, if you were given something of spiritual value or conceptual transformation, if we could take a concept that was once thought to be dead and revive it. Now that would be interesting, wouldn't it? Why has nobody ever told me about this before? I think conceptually it's a good concept. I think it's because people don't care that much about objects. People love to throw things away and to disregard things, get bored of things, get tired of things. This is what people lavish in I think it's why people are attracted to food and the things they are, because that's all it's doing. It creates a temporary thing that you don't really have to care about and you can discard. But in all accounts of the universe, everything speaks of a permanent time, a permanent timekeeper over everything. Whether it's the repetitive circle of reincarnation or the monotheistic God, there's an eternal timekeeper, which means any of these things are entirely useless. No matter how much higher in form they are, they're useless in nature. The nature of them is still useless. It doesn't matter how long you make it. Take a human and make them live for 2,000 years, it's still not very long in the grand scheme of things, because time still becomes just a blink. We only experience time in the present. We don't experience time permanently. So things and events don't weigh on the human psyche. We can't feel all the time that's passed. We forget it and toss it aside. And it's terrible, and it's why I don't like this world. Because this world has been hyper optimized around a lack of gratitude, because that is the steam that keeps people going, is being ungrateful. People love being ungrateful for things, and humanity revolves around a pursuit of not needing to be grateful. A pursuit where you become so excessively wealthy that you don't need to pursue wealth, that you can just wallow in what you have and not need to be grateful for any of it. To have so much excess that you can't even conceive of what you have. To have so much money that your life is secure beyond what you can conceive. But that isn't how it should work. There should obviously be a point where everybody should have as much money as they can conceive. I think that would be the fairest way to handle things, because I'm sure right now that things are wildly imbalanced. And someone like me can probably conceive of a much higher amount of money than most people, but I still wouldn't be surprised if it's really not that high. You know, like even my conception or a human who has a higher conception than me, I still have a feeling it's not as high as you'd think. It's probably not even $1 billion. It's probably not, you know. So we think about these things and we think about life and what's going to happen, and I think it just all comes back to destruction, because the elites need a justification for what they're going to do, which I think is becoming more and more obvious. A great reset with a lot of bloodshed, and I don't know. I mean, maybe there was cycles to this, right? Maybe the 1900s, the elites experimented, oh, hey, maybe we'll try mass education. We'll see how that plays out. We'll try to make a democracy where people can vote and people are in control of their best interests. And we'll be able to create this like amazing thing. And this is probably what the elites were thinking. Through mass education, humans will eventually or pretty rapidly evolve and shift into a higher form. But then that didn't happen. Pretty quickly, humans began to stagnate and not continue to have much progress, if that makes sense. And so I think the elites ended up needing to backpedal much of their aspirations and had to think of a newer or a different system, because the system that they had concocted obviously did not pan out effectively. And so I think that's when we get to the 21st century where we start to see the apprehension or the caveats to the original intuition that was had. And then this century you see like a different trajectory now in the beginning of it. Maybe in the beginning of the century there was still energy towards what I'm talking about, but by now I think a shift has occurred where perhaps things are more dire than the elites originally thought, which is pretty interesting to conceive. Obviously, it's very interesting to conceive. And yeah, I mean, what else is there to talk about? It's not something I really want to say because it's tragic, really. And I care about life, but there's obviously likely going to be lots of carnage and bloodshed, but it's going to be a slow and suffer-filled bloodshed, because I don't think anybody really wants to inflict anything massive or quickly, because nobody wants to get their hands dirty, understandably. And so that's why I think we're seeing things play out the way they're playing out. But it's a shame, and I hope that before too much damage is done, at least the best of us can be scouted out and saved by surveillance. That's what my hope is. As for myself, I don't know. I mean, if I'm one of the lucky people, that's fine, but if I'm not, then I probably shouldn't be alive. It really just depends. I don't know. Maybe I'm not who the elites think is an ideal human. Maybe I'm too ahead of my time, or just too out there. And in that case, I guess I would have to be gone with the wind, just like everybody else. So we'll see, but what I know is I don't have much control over the parameters, and I guess I'm just going to do what I can. Maybe someday my story would be remembered, but maybe it won't, and maybe this is just all going to be a bunch of washed up, dirty, filthy words that end up stale, misinterpreted and misunderstood, lost to the sands of time. I'm not sure. But I think that is the ultimate consensus. This idea that life does not care about life. That we as people and humans as a conscious life form do not care and cannot evaluate the incredible importance and miracle that is conscious life, that is our own consciousness and our spark. Life cannot care for life. We can't appreciate what we have. It's too great for us to even conceive, and so we stay stuck in an extremely unappreciative state and never see past it. And isn't that the tragedy? Which is why there's justification for the coming Great Reset and the population control. But of course, none of this is in, the blood's not going to be on my hands. It's going to be on the hands of the elite if they presumably go down this path. But that's the justification, is that life can't value life, and humans don't value or can't conceive humans. And that causes great issues for obvious reasons. It causes great problems, and there's not really an apparent solution. So it's something to keep in mind, for sure. It's definitely something to keep in mind. And we'll try to unravel or to prepare, but at the end of the day, destiny is destiny and fate is fate. And I didn't have a choice in that regard. So whoever I fall or whoever I am, I just want to hope that I end up where I'm supposed to be. And whether that's one of the many in the street, keeled over, or it's one of the few who are the bearers of the next, I just hope that whatever is done is whatever is best. I hope to see the dawn of the new world. I would hope to at least be able to witness it, even if I'm not worthy. I would hope to at least be able to see it. That would be very nice. But anyways, it has been schla, but now it's time to buy schla. So, see ya schla.